We've built a beautiful front end that we call the buyer portal that can be deployed out of the box onto any BigCommerce site. We have that functionality that we've made open source so that it's easy for you as a business to be able to customize. We've created new buyer roles and permissions, brand new in BigCommerce, released today. So for the sales team, how do you respond to a quote? How can we make that easier?
So let's start. I believe so. I saw a video on the B2B. Really, there are many things that BigCommerce is mainly focusing on. That's very good to know. But still, there are many things that we want to know and learn from you as well. So, to start, I would like you to share some thoughts on BigCommerce being or general B2B perspective for SMEs and enterprise. For example, if we cover as a general concept we have is that mainly the B2B specific business model mainly focused by enterprise, etc. SMEs are doing it on a very small side or mainly dealing all these things offline, not online. So what do you think? What it is here for SMEs in terms of B2B, in terms of online e-commerce platforms?
Yeah, sure. So there's a huge shift going on in B2B e-commerce today. Today in the US, about 17% of B2B transactions are done through e-commerce, are done online. And that number is set to grow, if you believe the statistics, and I generally do, north of 30% by 2030. So there's a huge amount of growth that is going to occur in B2B e-commerce over the next 5, 6, 7 years. A lot of growth. Why is that happening? It's happening for two reasons. I like to think of push effects and pull effects. So the push effects, those are the manufacturers themselves, the distributors themselves that want to move online because it's more efficient for their business. It's more efficient for their sales team. It's more efficient for their operations if they can allow their customers to self-serve information that would otherwise take resources away from other work. Great example. If I'm a business and I'm purchasing my HVAC parts from a distributor, I should be able to see where those parts are in terms of delivery online. I shouldn't have to speak to a salesperson. And that for a manufacturer, for a distributor, is really important because it's helping to improve efficiency, reduce costs at a time when high inflation, margins are being squeezed. So it's really important for my business. And on the other side, we have buyers. Buyers want to purchase online. They don't want to have to speak to a salesperson all of the time. And that is moving and in order to keep up with those expectations, the manufacturers, distributors are having to move online. Now, you mentioned enterprise versus SME, right? Versus smaller business, SMB. Well, on the enterprise side, larger businesses have been selling online for a while. They've been selling online, for maybe 10 plus years, but they've been doing it on custom platforms, on open source platforms that are hard to use and expensive to maintain and to continually upgrade. And we're seeing a huge transition in enterprise B2B where there is a movement away from those custom platforms, away from the open source platforms and onto SaaS like BigCommerce. And we're here for that, right? We built BigCommerce to be scalable for those enterprise businesses. And we've built our B2B suite of tools with those businesses in mind. But one of the big differences is that we believe that all of those tools that the enterprise businesses have access to, quoting, invoicing, buyer approval workflows, tools for the sales team, should be available for those smaller businesses as well. And that's what we've done with our B2B tools. So with B2B Edition, everything I just mentioned, quoting, invoicing, etc., is available to those smaller B2B businesses out of the box. We've built a beautiful front end that we call the buyer portal that can be deployed out of the box onto any BigCommerce site and gives the buyer of that manufacturer or distributor all of that functionality, right? But if you're an enterprise, you can take that buyer portal and it's open source and you can customize it however you like to meet your very bespoke different needs. So at the two ends of the spectrum, for the SMBs, we're making it really easy to get enterprise level functionality onto your site. So you don't have to look at the Grangers of the world and the large businesses and think, oh my gosh, they have this amazing experience. You can have it yourself. And for the enterprise businesses, we have that functionality that we've made open source so that it's easy for you as a business to be able to customize with all of the SaaS functionality, software as a service functionality behind the scenes, such that you're not worrying about upgrading and security and all of the pitfalls that come with traditional open source.
Right. So yeah, like the most like important point you mentioned that for buyers as well, like buyers also preferred like having all these purchasing process online, whether they are like distributors or whether they are like any of such wholesalers. They also prefer to like have the businesses online, reduce their cost and operation, make things automated. So yeah, that completely makes sense. So SMEs are also like if there's a competition in a market, so SMEs are also focusing on, and they should target that, and they should go with that shift that you mentioned. There is a big shift, and they should go with it. So yeah, moving forward, the other topic that you just mentioned, the buyer portal, is specifically making it open source. That's a good move by BigCommerce, because yeah, that's the only thing we discussed, that as B2B edition coming is a part of an app within the BigCommerce core. So yeah, that's the only you can say a point. It is being catered by buyer portal being open source. But I would like to like listen from you as well, that what could be the best selling points you can say, or what could be the best pain points that are being like resolved by the buyer portal being open source. One point I got from you that for enterprise customers, they want to like go more advanced and customize their basic B2B systems and make it more customized. So yeah, that will definitely help them. Anything
Yes.
else you would like to add?
Yeah, let me. So we have a customer here at BigCommerce. They're a manufacturer of complex electrical equipment. They do about $6 billion in total revenue. So they're a big business. They have grown inorganically by acquiring other businesses. They have about 120 businesses in total. And about 80 of them are online on BigCommerce, have a BigCommerce site. Now, each of those individual businesses operates slightly differently. They have everything from aeroplane parts to nuclear. And in each of those buying processes, there are different jobs to be done or different workflows that need to be followed by the end buyer, by that end distributor or end consumer, let's call them in this case. Obviously, they're a business, they're buying nuclear parts and plane parts. Open sourcing the buyer portal allows that business to have a very high, very good starting point with all of the basic functionality and needs built into their online experience that they can then take and tweak for their specific needs and their specific processes. And this is the same whether you're, a $6 billion business or a $100 million business. You have specific workflows for your business that you want to move online for all the reasons we mentioned, the efficiency gains, etc. The open source buyer portal enables you to do that because you can develop specific workflows. So let me give an example. This business, for some of their businesses, they have support tickets. They have warranties that they need to track. They have specific tech specs. They're only available to you when you've bought that product. Well, they're building that into the buyer portal. So their buyer portal is going to have support tickets and support items that you can log directly in that portal. Now, obviously, BigCommerce today is not a CRM. So they are integrating directly into their own CRM to log that support ticket. Well, with our open source buyer portal, they don't have to build all of the other functionality that they're using for BigCommerce, the quoting, the invoicing, the buyer approval workflows. They just have to build this one piece, which is the support tickets. And hey, presto, there we go. They have now digitized their support ticket process and integrated it into the buyer workflow online. That is hugely beneficial. It's great for them for all the reasons we mentioned around efficiency, but it's great for the buyer as well. The buyer has one site they need to log into where they can request a quote, make a purchase, pay the invoice, log that support ticket, view their warranties, view their potentially, return information, any servicing information they're also going to build into the site. And that's really the value of our open source buyer portal. We know B2B businesses have very different workflows from one another in different verticals and specific to that company. Well, with an open source portal, you can build that workflow into your e-commerce site, and that's really important.
Right. Yeah. Thanks for this example. Actually, it makes sense because I completely agree. Like we as a development company also face many customers they differ with respect to industry to industry. For example, an automotive customer are dealing in the B2B. They have very different use cases. They have a strong search, advanced search, and some other features as well. And if you the major industry we deal in is automotive, healthcare, furniture industry, and they all have their different use cases. Obviously, healthcare have some different shipping and packaging mechanism. Like some medicines are going with the dry ice box and etc. So yeah, that I completely agree with you. There are some Lance or more use cases we normally follow. I'm not talking about right now with respect to BigCommerce, but as a general B2B e-commerce module. What do you think that should we consider these features within the online platform? Not now, but later on. For example, as you mentioned that there are many mechanisms still in the B2B business model being managed by sales reps, and but we often see this kind of requirement with some of our merchants that they want to have sales rep approve the codes, check it, modify it, but they want some kind of permissions on that. For example, if some sales rep is if there's a code for $1,000 order, they want to give the sales rep a certain you can say limitation, they cannot give discount more than 10%, for example. So yeah, what do you think that with your experience with different customers, are these use cases important for everyone? And with that permission, not I won't restrict these permissions to sales rep, but for company users as well to customize permissions more, to give I know BigCommerce have some of these feature sets, but yeah, just discussing as a general overall that each user should have a custom permission set. Company user can define each of their sub accounts as a different permission set. So yeah, how do you think this permission model in for different B2B customers or case studies with your experience?
Yeah, I think that's a really great point, right? And it's important to touch on that. B2B is very different from B2C. When I'm purchasing on behalf of a company, I may be in finance. And in finance, all I'm really supposed to be doing when I'm interacting with a supplier is paying the invoice. Or maybe I'm a junior buyer, and all I'm supposed to do when I go onto that site is create a list of items to purchase, but I can't, I don't have the right to actually make that purchase. I don't have the right to check out, right? And these are B2B specific processes that we don't usually see in B2C. And so that, and you mentioned another one, which is for the sales team, right? What can a salesperson do, or someone who is working on behalf of the manufacturer or distributor? They should have certain permissions that allow them to do specific things. And so for the B2B distributor or manufacturer, BigCommerce has supported specific permissioning for quite a while now. Not necessarily to all the level of granularity that you mentioned there, but I can tell you we're building out that level of granularity to encompass more and more throughout this year. So if I think about specific things like, okay, you're a user on behalf of my company. You can only, add new companies. You can't update pricing. all you're able to do is be assigned to a specific company that you can view their orders, view their invoices, you can amend their invoices, but only for these specific companies, right? You are only able to view quotes or create a quote, delete a quote, update it. These are the only things that you're able to do. And those features are built in today into our BigCommerce B2B edition. What I will say, you mentioned a specific use case. Today, we don't have the functionality to say, hey, you can only discount 10%, right? Today, that would live in a CRM. Now, that's not saying we're not going to build it in the future, hint, hint, wink, wink. But it's, right now, today, that would be in a CRM specific like functionality, and then you would connect with our open APIs to move that quote back and forth, which is easy enough to do. And we have lots of customers that are doing exactly that. So on the merchant side, on the manufacturer distributor side, we have lots of flexibility to enable specific roles and permissions. On the buyer side, really, really interesting that you brought this up today. Actually, right now, should be released at some point by end of day today. We've created new buyer roles and permissions, brand new in BigCommerce, released today. So now, previously in BigCommerce, we had 3 user roles: a junior buyer, a senior buyer, and an admin. I'm not going to go into that details of what they are, but as of today, should be today end of day, a manufacturer distributor can create their own custom roles for their buyer. So now you can have a buyer role that all they can do is log in and pay invoices. All they can do is log in and create shopping lists and send them off for approvals. All they can do is log in and change addresses. That's it. That's all they're allowed to do, and much more, right? So within invoices, orders, quotes, and kind of that admin management, you can now control and create specific permissions that you can put your buyer users into, such that their roles are now available. And that's brand new on BigCommerce, released today. And I'm really excited about it because I know many of our agencies have asked for it. Many of our customers have asked for it. This is phase 1, and there are 2 more phases of this release. So I'm excited. I'm not going to spoil what's coming next, but I'm excited for what's coming in phase 2 and 3 as well.
Yeah, definitely. Like as I also mentioned you that this is something like the permission thing is like is demanded from different customers. So yeah, that's very good to know. And so we are also excited after hearing this. So yeah, let's explore that, and that's very good to hear. Right. So now I will move a topic like from core B2B functionalities to some other additional components like we are focusing on as complete e-commerce industry is going to. So I will go towards composable commerce, like the headless models. And if we talk about with the commerce team and headless, and if we do not mention Catalyst, that's not fair. So yeah, definitely. I will like try to ask you about Catalyst. That I know that there are many features, and it's the work is going on in much good pace. Many like the B2B features being supported in Catalyst, and the work is still in progress. But I want to like ask you that what merchants should expect in terms of the like headless if they are going. Like we recently received some leads from our customers that they are B2B, but they were a bit of reluctant in going towards headless model because the B2B feature support. But what would you advise, or what would you like give like a message to all those merchants that like B2B features are being in like will be part of Catalyst soon this year, or
Yeah. So firstly, I would say, look, BigCommerce actually has more headless implementations than any of our competitors, which is fantastic. We've supported headless before headless was the buzzword, and everyone wanted to build. What I will say before getting to that, though, headless isn't for everyone, especially in the mid-market and the smaller businesses. Headless can be complicated, right? I'm an advocate. I think open SaaS is the way to go, which is what BigCommerce is built on. We want to be open. If you want to plug in your best of breed CPQ, PIM, your best of breed CMS, a DAM, you should be able to do that. You should be able to have all of those systems. They should plug into your core commerce engine, which is hopefully BigCommerce, and they should integrate easily and operate seamlessly. That's really important. But headless, understanding all those systems, understanding how they connect together, and then implementing it requires technical knowledge and expertise, and not everyone has that. And so the first thing I always do when I'm talking about headless is decide whether it's right for you. Do you really need to be headless? What are the benefits that you're getting? Do those benefits outweigh the costs of the implementation itself and then the upkeep, right? Because now you've got, potentially 6, 7, 8 different systems that are talking to each other. As those APIs change, which they will do, they get updated, you have to update it. Now, yes, if you want to change PIM, it should be easier to change PIM. And we're actually nominated for the MAC or B2B Impact Award for a business that specifically ripped and replaced their commerce engine with BigCommerce, and it was so easy because they had implemented in a Mac headless fashion. From a Catalyst perspective, Catalyst is BigCommerce's brand new storefront, or brand new headless implementation. It's a really, really great kind of reference architecture that a customer or agency can use to get started in a headless implementation incredibly quickly. We're being opinionated about how you should connect some of the front-end systems. We're being opinionated about the softwares that you should use. B2B is being integrated into Catalyst right now. It is happening with the teams as we speak. And so, within the next month or two, I would expect all of that functionality to be available in Catalyst, or at least a large portion of it. But because of the way Catalyst is built, you don't actually need BigCommerce to do all of that work. An agency could do that plumbing for you, as can yourself if you've got those developers. And very often when you're building headless, right, you have to remember this. What we're providing, which is kind of the reference, here's the out of the box how it works, is not necessarily how you want to implement anyway, because you're building headless because you want to customize specifically to your use cases. And so, when we have that kind of out of the box integrations with Catalyst, they'll be ready and available, and it will give an easier starting point. But I expect our agencies to go wild and create some truly incredible headless B2B storefronts. And I mentioned the Mac Award, Mac Alliance Award. There last year we won the Mac Alliance Award for B2B with MKM Building Supplies in the UK, largest independent building supplies merchant in the UK, and they won for their implementation of BigCommerce and Bloomreach. So we have huge pedigree in this space. We've got some fantastic customers who have built headless. But I always say, is it right for you? Determine if it is. If it is, go for it. Make sure you've got a great agency who you're partnered with, who knows what they're doing, who's built headless and understands B2B.
Perfect. Yeah. So the question you raised, that should be the main question for anything. Like before deciding the e-commerce platform, like why SaaS, why SaaS-based platform, why headless? So yeah, I completely agree with you that we should get those requirements clear, and then we should proceed with that. And obviously, if you need to go with that, I see that we have less time. It's near the move, so I will try to wind up my question. I still have a couple of points that I wanted to discuss, but I will try to discuss it very quickly. As we discussed headless here, so I would definitely want your thoughts on AI-based features. Obviously, AI not specific to B2B. I saw your Bytes video with Jake of that call. So you discussed some very cool features that I saw. I also were thinking of some good kind of AI features. So just wanted to have your idea overall. For example, we have shopping lists within B2B. We can focus on smart shopping lists, smartly created for some customers just based on their previous data. So these things, are something that we can discuss. So although I know BigCommerce already working on AI in many things, but want to know your
Yes, I think there are lots of ways that AI is going to change the face of e-commerce, but also of manufacturing and distribution more fundamentally. AI is already being used to optimize supply chains, to optimize the production of goods for manufacturers, and that is going to continue and get better and better and better. On the customer side, we're kind of at the forefront of how AI is going to change that customer integration. You've already seen, and BigCommerce has launched, our product copywriter, so writing copy for products, making that much easier. That's a really simple use case, right? But it's important. If you're a distributor and you've got 100,000 SKUs, writing product descriptions can be difficult. This year, we're working on AI quoting. So for the sales team, how do you respond to a quote? How can we make that easier? We actually did a proof of concept earlier in the year on that already, and we're working on building that this year, and we'll be releasing it. When that quote comes in, how do we pre-populate the response to that quote by the sales team, suggesting products, rewriting the email in the tone that the salesperson wants? Let's save time for that salesperson and make it easy as possible to get that quote out there. And then there's going to be a whole lot more, right? Building LLMs into the site that are chatbots that are responding to queries. And, we've got partners. We're an open platform. So we work with partners, technology partners across every single vertical, building fantastic AI features, like a search that, instead of requiring you to search for a specific product, enables you to type in the problem that you're trying to solve. And the example I like to use here is, I'm building a house. The house is, or an office. The office is 20,000 square feet. I need to, here's the design. I need you to suggest an HVAC system for me along with all the parts. Uploaded, and my cart is then filled with all of the products that I would need to to build that HVAC system into that office. That's where we're going to get to. We're not there yet. We're a long way from that, but we will. And I think that's going to revolutionize B2B interactions, buyers and sellers. Here's my problem. What do I need to solve it? Suggest what I need to solve it and put it into my cart and let me check out as quickly as possible. That's going to be really exciting.
Great. So yeah, BigCommerce is, along with all the SaaS platform, BigCommerce is really taking the AI thing very seriously and doing some good work. We also recently participated in last week Q3 in the hackathon, big hackathon. So yeah, that's really interesting to see and very good to see about that. So yeah, just to conclude, we are already 2 minutes up. So thank you for your timeline. But just to conclude, as a last note, what do you want to mention about what are the more future plans? Obviously, there is something new every day. I know, but yeah, especially focusing on BigCommerce B2B edition, and especially considering that Shopify is also working on its B2B module to slowly build it up. But yeah, although I know BigCommerce is working on it since good time. So just as a last note, what do you want to add? That what's more that is we should look for, and what's more coming?
Yeah. I think I'll answer the question a little bit differently. I don't like to sell the roadmap, but instead I would say this. BigCommerce is the platform of choice for B2B businesses, manufacturers and distributors for 4 key reasons. 1, it's B2B ready. Out of the box, we have all of the features and functionality that you need as a manufacturer and distributor to be successful. Quoting, invoicing, buyer approval workflows, sales team tooling. And we've built that into our out-of-the-box buyer portal and our open source buyer portal. It's ready to go. So if you're an SMB, smaller business, mid-market business, it's out of the box. You don't have to build it yourself. If you're an enterprise, you can take our starting point and take our open source buyer portal and customize it how you need. Number 2, payments. We offer payment flexibility. We are not going to charge you for using a different payment gateway than our preferred. We don't have a preferred payment gateway. That's the point of BigCommerce. And so that's really important. That means you can get L2, L3 credit card data, the best rates possible. Gives you flexibility. We have terms, credit terms built into B2B Edition, so you can offer them. And we have our invoice portal ready to go, so you can ring invoices online. 3, as a business, you're looking to grow. That all B2B businesses want to grow, whether that's new brands into new regions, whether it's going direct to consumer. Multi-storefront for BigCommerce, it enables businesses to grow as simply and easily as possible. One back end and multiple storefronts. That's really important. And then finally, we are built for B2B. We have been supporting B2B businesses for 5, 6, 7+ years. We have over 1,000 B2B Edition stores live. Those are all mid-market enterprise businesses. Hugely beneficial. We understand how B2B works, and we are ready for everything that a manufacturer or distributor could need.
Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, Len. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Bye.